So here we have those things, and then the vestibular area, and then we talked about the stria medullaris. Okay, now when we come to the internal features of the medulla, I want you guys to remember that in order to be able to study them, we divided them into 3 levels. All right, we have the level of the decussation of pyramid, which is the lowermost level. Here it's the lowermost level, decussation of pyramids. And then we have the level of the sensory decussation. It's deep inside. We cannot see the decussation outside. And then we have the level of the olives. Can you guys see the olives? It's the highest level. How will you be able to remember them in the exam, and how will you be able to envision them in the written exam without having pictures? First of all, remember that the medulla is continuation of the spinal cord. So what you've already studied in the spinal cord, it's going to continue here. All right? Now, I want you to remember that the first level, we are coming from down to up, is the pyramidal decassation. In the practical exam, the cross-section is going to look like that. All right? And this, to me, looks like a bird. And the bird is sitting on the top of the pyramid. So once you see the face of the bird, remember that this is the level of the decassation of pyramids, the pyramidal decassation, the motor decassation. Okay, so you have a level of decassation of pyramid, and we're going to talk about the details of that now. And I will tell you how to remember the 3 levels and how you will be able to answer any questions in a cross section like that. Okay, now we are the level of the first level. Looks like a pyramid, the bird face, which means this bird is sitting on a pyramid. So this is the pyramidal decassation. What's going to happen? If you look at it, you're going to have all the tracts that were coming from down. You have the spinocerebellar tract, you have the spinothalamic. Okay, that's well and good, that's perfect. And at the sensory, the posterior part, of course, you have your fasciculus, gracilis, medially, and cuneatus. The tract is usually outside and the nucleus is inside. Okay, so if you find that there is nuclei, medial, gracilis, nuclei, cuneatus. Okay, so the medial one is the gracilis, the lateral is cuneatus, and the tract is outside. The fasciculus itself is the tract. It's the group of axons. Okay, so above the or outside to the nucleus gracilis is the fasciculus gracilis. Outside the nucleus cuneatus is the fasciculus cuneatus. All right, so this is going to be here and there. And here now we have the trigeminal nucleus and tract. Remember, you guys, when I told you when you want to study the cross sections of the brainstem, remember that number 3 and 4 cranial nerves related to the midbrain, 5, 6, 7, and 8 related to the pons, 9, 10, 11, 12 related to the medulla. And I told you guys that the trigeminal nerve is a ciliary nerve that will have nuclei outside the pons. It's not only related to the pons, because we said that 5 is related to the pons, but remember, it is ciliary because it has a nuclei down in the medulla and up in the midbrain. The nucleus that is related to the medulla is what we're talking about now. It's the spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve, this one. And the nucleus that is related to the midbrain is the mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal. And we call it mesencephalic because midbrain is called also mesencephalon. Okay, and that is bringing information from proprioception of the face. All right, and remember that the trigeminal nerve is a cranial nerve, and it's related to the stuff to your face. And if I have a spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve, it means what kind of sensation is it? It's pain, temperature, light touch, and pressure. So the trigeminal nerve is the spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve. It's going to give you the information of the pain, temperature, light touch, and pressure, and that is going to be at the level of the medulla. However, the proprioceptive sensation is going to be in the mesencephalic nucleus of midbrain. Other than that, the other cranial nerves are polite, they are good, they are concise to their levels. 3 and 4 midbrain, 5, 6, 7, and 8 pons, 9, 10, 11, 12 medulla. Except for the vestibular nuclei, it's not only concise to the pons, we do have some vestibular nuclei at the level of the medulla, because we said that 3, 4 midbrain, 5, 6, 7, and 8 bones. So 8 should be in the bones. So yes, we have vestibular nuclei in the bones, but we have extra nuclei related to the medulla. Okay, so I hope now you can remember the basic information about the cranial nerve nuclei that you are expected to see at each level of your brainstem. All right, now in the pyramidal decassation, everything is here continuation of down. Other than that, this is a bird sitting on a pyramid, so pyramidal decassation. So the pyramids are going to decassate. So I have pyramids. Remember, guys, these are the two pyramids that you can see them from outside, all right? What's going to happen is they're going to decassate and they're going to go lateral to form the lateral corticospinal tracts. So they're going to go lateral to form the lateral corticospinal tracts, and then they're going to descend in the spinal cord as a lateral corticospinal tracts. Other than that, we have 15% that descend here without decassating, and they will decassate down at the spinal cord level. Okay, other than that, the pyramidal level is just like the spinal cord. Okay, so level 1, decassation of pyramid. How do we know it? From the face of a bird sitting on a pyramid. This is the motor decassation. Here, the pyramidal tracts that are bulging outside, these pyramidal tracts, they will decassate to give me the lateral corticospinal tracts. All right. All right. So, and then the pyramidal decassation, it will show you that you might get those kinds of, it depends on which faculty you are in which area in the whole world. So we're gonna have, this is to me, I can see it as a bird, and this is the nose of the bird. Okay, this is the eyes, and my eyes are the spinal nucleus of trigeminal, all right? And this is the bulging of the pyramids, and this is the decassation, all right, of the pyramids. They decassate that way to give me the lateral corticospinal tracts. So if you see this cross section, I think it's very easy for you to know that this is a pyramid. It looks like a spinal cord. It has a face of a bird. This is the level of the pyramidal decassation, because bird is related to the pyramids. So here, identify this is pyramids. These eyes, the eyes of the bird, are the spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve. And what is here? We have the nucleus gracilis and cuneatus, and we have the fasciculi outside. If I can see something that is white, this is gonna be the nucleus. If I can see something that is black outside, this is gonna be the fasciculus. Remember when we said that in the spinal cord, that the colors are the opposite, because the myelinated fibers are here black. In reality, they are white. So the fasciculus, the group of axons, they are here black. In reality, they are white. The nuclei here are white. In reality, they are gray matter, okay? So here we have the nuclei. The gracilis is medial, and the cuneatus is lateral. So when I have here the nose of my bird, it's gonna be the nucleus cuneatus, okay? And the fasciculus is the black outside. And I just want you to know that there is one bulging part here, which is the accessory cuneate. It's not written here. I'm not sure if you need to know it for your, depends on where you are and what you need to know. So here you guys have the nucleus cuneatus. There is a small bulging in some of the sections that will be the cuneate, accessory cuneate. So if you have a nucleus cuneatus, there is an accessory part, and this accessory cuneate is important because that will give you the cerebellar tracts. So because you guys know that we have the spinocerebellar tracts that are bringing unconscious proprioception from your body, okay? But here, for the upper limbs, we need the part of those guys the gracile, the cuneate, fasciculi, we need a couple of this information to give me the unconscious proprioception to the cerebellum. So the cuneo-cerebellar tract will give me the unconscious proprioception from upper limbs. So if you can see it in some cross section, the cuneate nucleus, if you can see a bulging extra part like that, this is gonna be the accessory cuneate. All right. Okay, so that's all you need to know. It's a continuation of the spinal cord. The first level of everything in the brainstem is your bird sitting on a pyramid. It's your pyramids, and they are decussating to give you the lateral corticospinal tracts. And if we ask you to identify this is actually the pyramidal decassation. And I'm sure now you guys know the bumps we have here, which are the fasciculus, gracilis, cuneatus, and the spinal tract of trigeminal nerve. All right, so these are the things from the gross features from outside. All the bumps, you've seen them. Posteriorly, sensory tracts, sensory stuff. Anteriorly, your motor stuff. And we haven't yet come to the olive, and that is going to be the last level of the medulla, and we're going to talk about that as we go up. Okay, so now there is a very important information about the crossing fibers of the pyramids. In the crossing fibers of the pyramids, I want you guys to know that the upper limb fibers cross higher and medial to the lower limbs. So if I have information coming from down here, it's gonna cross medial and higher up. This is from the upper limbs. All right? Now, if I have an information coming from the lower limb, it's gonna be lateral and lower. All right, so this is from lower limbs. What's gonna happen is there is something called crossed Diplasia. If there is a tumor here compressing on this side, all right, in this side of the crossing fibers, we're gonna have ipsilateral upper limb paralysis and contralateral lower limb paralysis. All right, why? Because the upper limbs, they cross higher up. Okay, so we have the pyramids, they cross higher up. So if I have a problem, it means that from the red, this is the last tract that wants to reach my upper limb. So this is the last tract. So I have a paralysis in the same side because it has been already crossed. It crossed higher up. Okay, can you guys see that this is the descending pyramidal from the upper limbs? It has been already at this level, it has been already crossed. So this is the final information going to that side. So this is gonna give me ipsilateral hemiplegia. Okay, I'm gonna have loss of motor control of my right hand. Okay, if I have a right lesion, I will have a problem in my upper right. However, the same problem, it's gonna affect my tracts. Okay, if you look at this tract here, okay, that is not yet crossed. So if I have a cutting in this part, the problem is gonna be on the other side of the lower limb. So the lower limb fibers of the other side, it's gonna be affected. Okay, so in cross Diplasia, if I have a problem compressing on the crossing fibers, okay, at the pyramidal level, this is gonna give me something called cross Diplagia. And the cross Diplagia is when I have an ipsilateral upper limb paralysis, ipsilateral, same side of the lesion, right side lesion, right upper limb, and contralateral in the lower limb, which is left side in this case. All right, so this is something that you might need to know. All right. Okay, so we are done with the first level. In the medulla, again, guys, we have 3 levels. We have the level of the decassation of pyramids, the motor decassation, which was the most inferior one. Now, and in this picture, I'm showing you the posterior aspect because now I want to talk about the sensory decassation. And remember, our sensory tracts are posteriorly. How will you remember, will you be able to identify at which section you are sitting in your station and you want to answer the question? based on the bumps. Can you guys see? These are bumps. So you have very prominent bumps at that level, guys, which is your tubercles. Why do I have tubercles? Because I have the cell bodies of the decussating fibers of the fasciculus, gracilis, and cuneatus. The group of cell bodies are forming the nuclei. If this is my fasciculus, gracilis, and cuneatus, down here, this is the tubercle up. It's made by the collection of the second order neuron, guys. The fasciculi were coming from down, ascending up, and they're gonna stop at that level, and they're gonna give the information to the second order neuron, where they will decussate to the other side, and now they're gonna be called the medial lemniscus, because we are going to ascend in the brainstem. And remember, the tracts, the sensory tracts at the brainstem, we call them lemnisci. It means we are at the core of the brainstem. Okay, so we're gonna change the name. So if I can see bumps, all right, if I can see bumps, 3 bumps, and I think the one that's related to the trigeminal, the spinal, it's gonna be the smallest, all right, but that's not important now. My important is the bumps. If you guys can see bumps, it means this is the sensory decussation level. Okay, so now you guys, if you look at a cross section at the pyramid, you know how it looks like. If you have a cross section at the sensory decussation, I'm gonna show you now how it looks like in the black and white picture. And now you know why, because at that level, the tracts need to stop. They need to give the information to the second order neuron, and then they're gonna decussate to the other side. All right, so they're gonna decussate to the other side, and then once they decussate, they're gonna give you the they're gonna be called the medial lemniscus. And these fibers, can you guys see, they are arcuate fibers, صح? They look like an arcuate, right? An arc. So we call them internal arcuate fibers. Okay, here we can call them internal arcuate fibers, and we also have external. Okay, I'm gonna touch on that in the next level. But fine, now I want you to grasp the concept, okay? Again, we are continuing what was happening in the pyramidal level down. Here you have the pyramids. Here you are at a higher level, which is the level of sensory decussation. If this is the pyramidal decassation motor, you are here at the sensory. So here you have a complete pyramid, a complete bulging pyramid, but not here. You can see it from the anterior aspect because this is motor. Here, this is the posterior aspect. This is cerebellum. This is sensory. This is what I can see. These tubercles are for the sensory fasciculi, all right? Now, at the sensory decussation level, okay, let me just be accurate and do it here. Okay, here I have the decussation of the fasciculi, the gracile and cuneate. They will stop, and they're gonna send the second order neurons by the nuclei, and these nuclei are gonna create those bumps. We call them tubercles, all right? So if I can see bumps, it means I am at the level of the sensory decussation. Other than that, you guys know that we still have the tracts that were coming from down the spinal cord. We are just adding up some information. Remember your silly trigeminal nerve that wants to enter its nose in anything. So we have this spinal nucleus and tract. And remember, you guys, I told you previously, whenever you look at a section, always the nucleus is deep and the tract is outside. Okay, so remember that we had the gracile, the cuneate, and then the spinal tract and nucleus of trigeminal nerve. All right. So this is what happens at the level of the decussation of medial lemniscus or the sensory decussation. If you look at a picture, the black and white picture, if you guys look at that, you can see that here it doesn't look like a bird. I cannot see a bird with its nose here. I can see bumps and I can see complete pyramids here. All right, so here I have still the spinal nuclei of the trigeminal outside, and I can see very prominently the nuclei of gracile and cuneate. And you guys, once you can see the nuclei, this white shadow, it means this is the group of cell bodies. It means my tracts has stopped here, and they've given the information to the second order neurons. Once you guys can see this much of white and white and white, it means this is the level of decussation of medial lemniscus. This is the sensory decussation. If you guys compare this to the pyramid, no, you cannot see here much of nuclei. You can see most of fasciculi. They are deep here inside. The nuclei are deep inside. They are not creating your bumps, your tubercles. Go back to the sensory decussation. You guys can see that a lot of sensory, cell bodies of the nuclei are so much big. We have left over with few white matter, which is the grayish color here, the fasciculi, because now I need the cell bodies, I need to give the information to them so that they can decassate, forming the internal arcuate fibers. All right, so this is the internal arcuate fibers of the cuneatus, and this is the internal arcuate fibers of the gracilis. All right, so this is the decussation, the sensory decussation. So you can get a question in the exam and tells you, identify the label structure. What is this and what is that? And if they show you medial one, the gracile, it means this is for the lower limb. If it's the whitish thing, this is the nucleus. If it's the black, it's the fasciculus. It's the axons, the traveling axons that they want to stop at that level to send the information to the nuclei, and then from here they're gonna send it there, and it's gonna cross to the other side, and then it's gonna ascend up as medial lemniscus. Once it crosses, it will ascend, bringing the information about the proprioceptive sensation from your body. All right, and of course your nosy spinal nucleus and tract of trigeminal nerve is going to be the last bump we have, the extra bump. Okay, and of course you have your pyramids. All right, pyramids is going to be there. And everywhere else, wherever you have any gray matter around you, you have to think about the reticular formation. And we already talked about the reticular formation and how it's very important, as it gives the information about everything happening, that keep you aware of everything happening in your body. Okay, guys, so now there is a nice important information, and I added this picture to help you guys know it, is that the lower limb fibers decassate anteriorly. So if you look at the cell bodies of the gracile, all right, so they will decassate anteriorly. If you guys look at this is going to be anteriorly decassate anteriorly. And if you have the cuneatus, it's going to be posterior. You might get this question in the exam, we never know. So this is just to look at this sloth and see how it's resting its body on the couch. And remember that his legs was anteriorly, and because the gracile is related to the lower limb information, so they decassate anteriorly. All right, perfect. So now we are done with two